What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Soup Chronicles, episode 1. I'm John. I'm going to be making some modular soup for you today. I might look like I'm a little bit emotional, but I have just been cutting onions, so give me a break. I'm going to talk about this modular soup idea. Basically, I have this idea that if you have a formula, you can use any combination of vegetables and deliciousness will ensue. I'll break down what the modular soup formula is in a bit, but I'm hungry and my wife's hungry, so I'm going to start cooking. Let's get started. Applying heat. Now I have my vegetables. I'm going to start with 341 grams of red potatoes. And I'm going to toss in 204 grams of red onion. Now you might notice that these are freakishly specific doses of each vegetable, but they're precise because they're imprecise. I have half an onion and it turned out that it was this much, and that's important because it allows you to use whatever amount of vegetables you have and go from there. I'm not going to say you need this much onion and it turns out to be 6/7 of an onion, and then you have a seventh of an onion wasted. So just gonna get these going here. Gonna add some oil. I'm using coconut oil today. This is a specific amount. I'll use all of this by the end of it, but right now I'm just gonna get these sauteing. Starting off with the potatoes because they are the longest to cook. Now I've done all the math ahead of time, but oftentimes when I'm not on camera, I will do this a lot more haphazardly and throw everything at the same time because I have low standards for myself. So next up I'm going to add some mushrooms. How much do I have here? I have 180 grams of cremini mushrooms, diced into like about sixths. And this is going to be a very large batch of soup, but I've got 2 people that I'm feeding here. And also the cool thing about this is that this whole pot will be relatively not that many calories. It will be extremely satiating, but very low in the calories. I usually try to keep my soups kind of ketogenic friendly. This will have potato in it, so purists from the Church of Keto will have qualms, but look at this shit, So get this sauteing over here. Next up, I have some dino kale, lacinato kale. Let's see, how many grams? 165 grams. Oh. Now let's go ahead and add the rest of the oil. Now, that specific amount of oil is 10% of the total weight of the vegetables. And similarly, I'm going to use salt. That's 1% of the total weight. So that's about 13.4. So the idea for this came about because I like food that is well salted. I don't like it over salted. I don't like it under salted. I like it well salted. And so I figured out that in this soup form, I tend to like about 1%. And I'm going to add the remaining sort of aromatic ingredients here that I want to keep fresh. I have leeks, I have spring onion, and I have garlic. Let's see here. For the spring onion, I have 46 grams, garlic 54 grams, and leeks 357 grams. Here. Lost a segment of spring onion. 2 segments! No! As you can see, this is a big old pot of soup. And this whole soup probably costs like $3 or something. Alright, so as I mentioned, the amount of salt in the fat is based on the total weight of the vegetables, and so the total weight was 1347. So next thing that I'm going to base on that is the total amount of water, which I will do 1:1. So vegetables, take 10% of that for fat, take 1% of it for salt, and take 100% of it for water. I'm not a heathen, so I'm doing this all by weight. So at the end of the day, most of the cooking is going to get done by way of boiling, not from the saute. I just want to get everything mixed up and sort of get the aromas going through the household. And this is a pretty wholesome soup. So as I said, I like to think that this recipe works for any combination of ingredients. I tend to like to do things like carrot ginger with the same approach, or broccoli spinach. And the cool thing there is that if you blend it, it still can turn into this delicious creamy soup, but it's based on your formula that you have. So cooking is underway. I'm going to add the water. And as you can see right now, it just looks like a bunch of vegetables and some water, but the oil is sort of suspended there, looking really sexy in this water, and it's going to eventually turn into a sort of broth from everything else in here. Now, it's going to take, probably 20 minutes or something to cook, so I'm going to let it do its thing, and I will come back to you with the final product and show you how it tastes. Tell you how it tastes. You don't get to taste it. Alright, so since we last saw the soup when it was looking like just some veggies and water, now you can see that the broth is a lot murkier. Some of the solids from the vegetables are breaking down. You can tell that the potatoes are a lot softer and they're getting fully cooked through. This only took about 10 minutes when I quoted 20, but during that time I basically was able to crunch the numbers in terms of the nutrition, so let's dive into some of that. So this entire batch of soup, which is veering up towards about 3 liters, is less than a standard day's calories. It's 1860 kcal. That's not that much, especially when divided between multiple people and multiple meals. And the cool thing is that it's high fiber, so it's 27.5 grams fiber and 24.2 grams of protein. And you should note that all that protein comes just from these veggies, with all the amino acids and all that coming together. There's no protein in and of itself in here. No tofu, no meat, obviously. So it's just from the vegetables. Now, the fat content is 138 grams of fat. That's just from the coconut oil, basically, and whatever sort of remnants of oil might be on vegetables somehow. And in terms of carbs, it's 148 grams carbs total, but that's for true carbs, and we're interested in net carbs, so it's 118 for the entire batch. And like I said, 27.5 grams of those were fiber, and 62.5 grams are starch. And so if you let this soup cool down, some of you nerdy or keto people, or sort of maybe paleo adjacent people, might realize that cooling down the potatoes will sort of convert them to resistant starch, which is harder for the body to process as true carbohydrates, and it takes it more as resistant starch, where it's fermented in the colon to create neurotransmitters and promote gut health. And so it's kind of even less carbohydrate rich than I've even implied thus far. And the soup is finished. Yet again, another delicious soup. Soup by numbers. Thank you.